is so strong.
Putting a dip in your hip, a glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is R.I.F.T Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Good evening, travelers and those alike. Welcome to the Orion Effect. Come on in, come on in. The show's just about to begin. Welcome to the show. I'm the Hitman of social media.
And I am Rhonda Dowdy.
She's the one that keeps me in check.
I try. It's a very much an all-day job.
Hey, that's rude.
No.
Oh, man, we got so many wonderful people popping in.
I know. They're joining us early today. This is awesome.
I like it. It's because we have some wonderful people as guests this evening that we'll be bringing on just momentarily. But we got to say our hellos to our travelers.
Yes.
Acknowledgement. I'll acknowledge them, not me.
Hello, Renee Cody and Carlene Griggs Smith. And the Phoenix, I love your name. Lewis Clark, Ronnie Rickard, Keith Ottersberg. The gangs are all joining in.
It's like a thing of Charlie Brown.
And Shayla. The pretty part of the Rickard family.
Absolutely. And then I know there's other people out there that are just not saying anything. But hello. And Monica.
Hi. Monica.
She just popped on. Hello, Monica. Hello. Oh, look at that. Hit us in the house. What? Lisa. Hello, Lisa. Now, Phoenix is a special person. So okay. I'm not gonna pronounce who she is, but I know exactly who it is. It's our red-headed, fiery, wonderful friend up north. I will say that.
Okay.
Yes. So what a wonderful show, but I want to kick it off really good. I see that. we have had an interesting weekend.
You really have. Yeah, I can't wait for you to tell everybody what you got an opportunity to do. Because when I heard it last night, I was like, yes.
Yeah, I almost feel like bragging when I talk about it, but I'm ecstatic and excited on the inside. I got a message yesterday at 2 o'clock asking me to come to the cabin, and I was like, "Why?" Hello, Robert. Hello, hello. Uh, and the message was, "We would like you to be here. Maybe we can get the show out and get your network out and promote you a little bit. It's a great idea." And I'm like, well, I'm honored that you guys would want me to be a part of this. Now, if anyone other than them two has spent more time here, nobody but me. I will say that.
This is true.
So this is true. So I agreed to come to the cabin to interview with Dennis and Ryan on the cabin on 360's behalf and on the Rift's behalf and the show's behalf, and be interviewed by Ghostly Magazine out of New Jersey. And what a wonderful time. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We interviewed first. Hello, Kim. Hello. We first interviewed in the basement of the rancher. And then we did our second half interview here in the cabin. After that, they stayed and did a investigation and gathered their stuff for their article. What a wonderful time. Absolutely wonderful time had with Eric and Mike and AJ and his crew, because AJ was here too. He was the one, leading them after Ryan and thank you. After Ryan
and Austin was there.
Yes, yeah,
Austin.
Yep. I don't know why I keep going AJ. I just go straight there. So yeah, it was really magnificent. And out of nowhere, talking about quick, it hit today. The tease article came out for the article, and I do believe they're saying it's going to air January 3rd, if I remember correctly. I have to go. Man, what an incredible job they did on just getting a teaser out. And I was like, holy macaroni and crapola cheese. Rock on. That was cool. And
that's awesome that you don't have to wait like months. It's going to be out there to kick off the new year. That's great.
These guys are good, man. These guys are good. And just like the guys we're about to bring on in just a minute, Greg and Christopher, which we need to get them here.
Yeah.
Very similar personalities. It's very interesting. I was like, "Ooh, I got a 2-for-1 for this weekend." Yeah. So, how about you?
Oh, mine was a very uneventful weekend. We've had some issues at work, and I had to work a night shift last night, and I had to work a morning shift today. So, nothing fun for me. But half of the FPRI group was out at Gettysburg Academy and did dinner with a ghost. And from the pictures, it looked wildly successful and like a lot of fun. And John said it was a great time. So looking forward for us to go out there hopefully again in 2024.
There it is. There it is. A lot is going to be happening in 2024. I see a different form of, yet I'm going to say it, paranormal unity is taking place. And
don't say that too loudly.
No, it's true. But you know what? A lot of people have heard me say this, that poppycock and the para unity, blah, blah, blah. No, I think I'm changing my mind in some ways, and I'm going to tell you why. Travelism does like it's because when the like-minded people get together, that's unity. So we're seeing a lot of progression, a lot of forgiveness, a lot of, you know what? I don't care about your ego. I don't care about your narcissism. I know you as a person. And I think that's what matters.
Yeah.
And we're seeing a lot of that. We're seeing growth. We're seeing expansion. We're seeing people to come together. Just like the Rift in 2024, it's about to grow.
Yep.
As promised. Some major connections were made this week and some major signings were done. So they come and go. But I think the group that we have is going to be really tremendous. Hello, Ryan. Hello. I was just talking about you.
Ryan Jones, we kind of know that guy.
Yeah. He gets up on the curb sometimes. I have to pick him up. That's Speaking of FPRI, acknowledge your FPRI there.
Hello, team.
And Ryan's like, hello, back to you. Hello. So, sup? Hello. Hello. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. So, let's jump into it because we have two special guys that are joining us this evening, if you will. I'm excited to bring them aboard as our guest for the evening. As you can see, I'm a little stoked up I've got the special going on. Spark off! Let's make it happen. And ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure to introduce to you Christopher and Greg, Shadows Abound. Good evening, guys.
Hello. Hey, how you doing?
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
How's it going, guys?
It's going. We need to give them chocolate.
Yeah,
I got them.
Yeah.
I got some.
That's what I'm talking about. Now we need to feed you some pixie sticks, and we're gonna rock it. So let's Ryan says, LOL. Yeah, I show up every once in a while. This is true. Going to be an awesome show. Yes, it is, because we have Christopher and Greg. Wait.
Yes.
I've got to get this clear. Do we go with Chris or Christopher?
Chris. I prefer Chris.
Chris. There we go. Cleared out of the way. The mumbo jumbo. So welcome to the show, guys. This is again Rhonda, my hostess of the mostess. She is in
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Also known as the ringleader that keeps the chain around my neck.
Hopefully not too tight.
It's perfect.
My wife's like that for me.
Say? Well, see, I have like 3 or 4 wives. This is my work wife.
I have one of those too.
Yeah. And then I've got 2 of her friends. They're my other work wives. I'm like, God, I got wives everywhere. I feel so special. But yeah, again, and
then the real wife that pays us money to keep him straight. No, I'm just kidding.
He's not kidding. Don't let her fool you. That's probably true.
Makes sense.
I'm down. So let's see. Renee Cody says the puller of strings to keep said hitman in line.
That's right. Right.
That is her. Oh, look, I got it right.
Right over there. Yep.
So I just wanted to say congratulations on being interviewed by the magazine. That's pretty awesome news.
Yeah, I've been into that magazine myself for a while, so it's like, oh, we need to be in there too. Oh.
Yes.
You know what? We'll get you in there because I'm going to tell you what, Eric and Mike are some nice guys. I really enjoyed the time with them. And it's not about me, but I thank y'all for that. I want to thank Ryan C. Jones for that, actually, in Austin. Austin's the one that made it all happen for everybody. And I'm like, oh, get that cool.
I mean, honestly, that's how we felt when we met Austin as well at Nightmare Con. He's an amazing guy. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to do wonders because, all right, you have good one. And thank you for dropping in tonight. Another Travelers and hi and rolling. Yeah, I see a lot of great things coming from him. He's at that age that I once was, and I see his ambition. I just hope he doesn't burn. He's making great connections and he's putting people in contact with other good people. And that's what it's about.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of was when we talked to him and met him at Nightmare Weekend. We just kind of sat back and talked about places we've been, places we want to go, and just kind of talked about his ambitions and stuff like that. And he seems like he's got a clear path ahead of him, so I think he's going to do good. Yeah,
and his whole team, Forgotten Explorations, they're super nice. All of them are great guys.
Oh yeah, I haven't been able to meet him yet, but I'm sure I will soon.
You will. Actually, his mother and his uncle are on the team too, and they are wonderful. I met them over this past year too.
I didn't know that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Really cool. So let's jump into the meat of the soup, if we shall, with the veggies on top.
Indeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to introduce you to Shadows Abound. Now, who is Shadows Abound and how did you come about? Why did you come about?
So Chris and I have known each other for, I don't know how long, over 20 years.
Yeah.
And as kids, we kind of grew up being sensitive to the paranormal. We grew up watching the shows, loving the idea of going out and doing it ourselves. We just either never did it because we were either lazy or didn't have the money. But finally, a couple of years ago, we said, you know what? Screw it. Let's go for it. Let's buy the equipment. Let's go out there and shoot some stuff, show people how we see the things in real life. We just started knocking one thing out after another and having fun with it. And it's just been fun ever since. So we've been doing it for almost 2 years now.
Yeah, almost 3 actually.
Yeah.
We took it as like a YOLO moment. Like, hey, why not? Let's do it now. Why not now rather than never? You know what I mean?
We got tired of watching others do it,
Yeah.
So we kind of started buying small pieces of equipment. And then me being a perfectionist, I was like, I need something better for the videos. So every time we did another investigation, I went out and bought another piece of equipment, or I shot it different, or I edited it different. I'd say with us, though, we try and keep it raw. We don't do any of the edited effects or any of the wah, wah, wah. We don't do any sound effects. We want you to feel like you're there with us because we want to be in the moment while we do it. We struggle very much with, shooting footage with a camera versus just wanting to be in the moment. So we try and keep that as real as we can.
Like we'll battle with being nervous being filmed on camera, but then we also battle the, hey, am I filming it right? Am I getting this position right? So.
And I get that, but I'm going to give you guys props right now. Of course, now everybody may have known and will know now. I have investigated with these guys, and not too long ago, and we did a historical location in Richmond. And I'm going to tell you, after this investigation, I saw some of the most incredible shots taken I've ever seen. And I need to give props to you guys because you guys have got an eye. The picture that I saw, crisp, perfect angle, perfect shots. The coloring was on, and I was just totally impressed. I just have to put that out there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Man, thank you.
Humbles us to hear that. So.
Don't call me sir. Makes me feel young. Oh, no. Y'all deserve it. I really think y'all deserve it. If people have not, they need to go and check out Shadows Abound. Check them out on YouTube and check out what they do on Facebook. Check out their work. Check out their pictures, the video. I can't praise you guys enough. This is something I was going to wait till later in the show, but I'm jumping all in. I'm like, I don't care if the water's hot. Let's do this. Rhonda, if you have to, push me out of the way and ask your questions.
I was going to ask, like, where we're like, just for the group out there, ask where they were based out of, but sort of gave it away. But we know what historical location you're talking about. I know, but so let's let everybody know, like, Greg and Chris, where are y'all based out of?
Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, we're out of Richmond. So with us, we are kind of starting fresh. We're starting with all of our startup money into the equipment, So we basically are kind of trying to stay local until we make some more money to go out to other different states and do some wonderful areas. Because, it's a very, very expensive hobby. But, we're finding, I just found another cemetery, what was it, last week?
Yeah, last weekend.
Somebody at work told me about it, and we went out and scoped it out, and there literally is 2 family plot cemeteries that's hidden, behind it was like a PetSmart or something.
Yeah, major shopping center.
So we find stuff like left and right in Virginia that I don't think a lot of people know about or don't scope out. So our mission is kind of to give people knowledge about what's in Virginia first before we start really branching out.
Yes. That's one of the things I love about you guys. You're starting from the core and spreading out. You're not going out and coming back in. Because I don't care what anybody says. Virginia is an absolute gold mine for a paranormal and spiritual activity. There's so many hidden gold mines in this state. It's not even funny.
Oh yeah.
So hearing you guys do this, yeah.
Oh yeah. No, we had a couple things in the works. I know we got Fort Maddox, which is supposed to be a haunted railroad. I think it was 300 soldiers died of dysentery. So a very, very bad way to go. So, you know, we might catch some crazy shit on camera, you know.
Literally.
But you know, we're hoping to go to that. I mean, it's getting to the cold season, which I know sometimes it being cold, veil opens up a little bit more. You know, you sometimes capture a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But also, you know, we're not trying to freeze our fingers off like we did last year. So
No, that's crazy.
Woo! I'm tell you what about cold.
Yeah.
I won't say where we went when we investigated with you, but we did go there last year when it was below like 3 degrees with wind chill.
Yep.
And pretty much couldn't feel our fingers, but we did catch a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were right on the side of it where it's right up against the river. I'll say that. So it was extra cold.
Well, you know what I'll say about the cold, though? It's kind of hard to investigate because you're so cold, but there's a quietness about the cold weather. It's just a little bit more quiet outside. So I'd imagine you would pick up a little bit more activity easier if you would.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like sound travels, you know, of course, also with the paranormal, you know, and I feel like sometimes when it gets colder, that wind chill, sometimes you can catch things even without equipment, blows right by you in those areas.
Yeah.
So, you know,
or like something,
we do like doing
something
that.
will pick up on the wind when normally there is no wind at all. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the body is probably one of the biggest instruments you can have as well.
Absolutely. One of the things that caught my attention about you guys too, as well, is you know your parahistory. That also caught my attention because there are so many people out there that do not know where we came from, why we're doing it, the people involved in our past that got us to where we are now. And when I was speaking with you guys, y'all were throwing out names that I was just so proud to be with you guys, to hear these names come out of your mouths. And that really impressed me. What made you actually do your groundwork and your research to go into parahistory, getting into doing this?
Well, I guess I'll say for me, then I'll let you go.
Yeah.
So my dad was always big into genealogy. My dad was also big into religions. So as a kid, I learned about Scientology. You know, he wanted to be was a Jehovah's Witness at one point. You know, he talked about the Masons with me. Like he kind of went down a bunch of different paths. And as a kid, I grew an interest into it. So learning about family history, learning about different religions, learning about different things paranormal. We grew up in the church. You know, we haven't been in like 15 years. We ended up leaving and everything. That's a whole different story. But, you know, we grew up learning a certain way. And then as we got older, we wanted to gain more knowledge and learn the other different way. You know, we were forced to be this way. And we were like, let's venture out this way and gain knowledge. So it just, for me, it kind of branched out. I know you feel that way too. But just as a kid, my eyes were kind of open. And like I said, we were sensitive since we were young.
Yeah.
You know, starting out like 6-7 years old, having vivid nightmares, seeing things. And, you know, just kind of, it grew over time. And like I said, we grew up watching the shows and reading the books and stuff like that. So it's just been an interest for us for our whole life.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of like the same thing with, you know, me and my dad, like his, and my grandfather as well, my dad's dad. They always had this saying, well, I mean, my grandpa was a Marine during the North Korean War. So, but the saying he passed down to my dad and me was, question everything, prove the wrong first, and you'll find the truth after. So for me, it was always like I was 7 or 8 and someone would make me watch a horror film. And at the end, I'd be like, what are they using or source material to make this fear become truth when I'm watching it? Can I look this information up?
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, as a kid too, I got obsessed with World War I and World War II. So I always wanted to do my history. This information they have in the textbook that I'm reading, is there more information I can look up? Is there source material I can look up that will give me more of the information I have questions about? So, and then I guess I'd say I'll have a slight obsession with everything. So like if a horror film comes out and the ad for it before it's in theaters says it's related to Ed and Lorraine Warren, then I'll be like, all right, is this a case that they actually looked up? Can I look up this case?
Yeah.
And then I'll get obsessed with it. I'll like 2-3 days straight when I'm off from work. That's all I look up on YouTube and Google is whatever that case was. So
yeah, this guy stays. So we share an office, and this guy stays watching YouTube on aliens, Sasquatch, any kind of cryptid you can think of. This man stays on it, and so I'm sitting here editing the videos and going through stuff. he's watching that. So anytime I feel like I'm done with something, I get a whole lot more information. I'm more trying to learn how to, I taught myself how to edit and do everything for the channel. Yeah. So I'm so focused on that he focuses on the information. So it's like we constantly are throwing in stuff and trying to do new things and, just trying to make it a little bit better for both of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And speaking of the channel, I mean, that's how y'all ended up at Nightmare Weekend, right? Because of your YouTube and what your work is.
Oh yeah. That was kind of funny because so we started this thing off of a joke. So I've watched a lot of movies in my life, but horror has always been the genre that actually I've not watched a lot of. Don't know why. So there's always a running joke when he brings up movies or we're around people and, like The Shining for one. I know that's a favorite for everybody, but I always go, I've never seen it. That's the running joke because I've never seen it. So we started doing a thing to where we on Facebook will pull out a poll and we'll say, you guys choose the movie, we'll watch it, and I'll give you guys a reaction to it. So the very first one we did was The Purge, which was not satisfying.
I hated it. I hated it.
Yeah. So the guy that invited us out to Nightmare Weekend, he saw that video, commented on it, and invited us through that. So that was kind of cool that just the first video of that category, got that publicity to where we could go out and do what we did.
Yeah, and the whole time when we put it out, we were like, no one's going to watch this.
Yeah, we thought it was a gimmick. We thought it was something funny.
And then all of a sudden,
that happened.
His comment went right on.
Yeah. And then, at the same time, we got to get Ryan involved with it. So he got to go out, which I thought that was awesome. And then he got Austin there. And that's how we met Austin. So I just feel like something so small that we thought nothing was going to happen out of it opened up a very big window for us. So we're very appreciative of that.
Excellent. Rhonda, you want to see what Renee said?
Yeah, Renee said, when you arm yourself with knowledge about history of a location, local histories, families with their histories, etc., the better you investigate. And I found that interesting that you said that, like through your family knowledge, that you had been, you got some basic understanding about some of the religious beliefs and things like that, which is something I've actually been exploring because I feel like we kind of need to know what different religions think about death and dying, one, but also what they believe about the spirit realm, especially, depending on what location we're at. And it's a whole rabbit hole once you jump in there and start looking at out each one. I was at a Paracon in September and I actually was looking for a short way out. I hate to admit that, but I thought maybe there's something that like a, to give you a little snapshot. So then you could go dig deeper into other things. And I actually asked John Zaffis, is there any book out there that I could find that would kind of just give me a brief understanding of all the religions and their belief around death and dying and the spiritual realm and ghosts? And he was like, no.
Yeah, there isn't.
No.
Like you can pick like the top 7 and watch or listen to a representative from each maybe, and then have a video of them debating with each other would be like the only real way, really.
Yeah.
Like how they can take their knowledge that they have from the day to day in their theology and place it during everyday life with other people in society.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely, like you said, a rabbit hole. You're going to go down because I have major ADHD. So just like him, I do get sucked into wanting to learn stuff. And I do remember one day, I don't even know what I was supposed to be doing. I don't know if I just got off work or something. I don't know what it was. I literally clicked on one snippet on YouTube about Scientology. And 5 hours later, I was still watching crap about Scientology. And I'm just sitting there like, really? They did that? And I'm like, what is this guy doing? And I just kept watching video after video after video. And I was just soaking in so much information. Just one thing can turn into a whole day. Yep. So, the amount of religions out there, it's something that you're going to be stuck with forever. And people come out with new information, or, people have different thoughts and different opinions on stuff like that. So, this person might be a little right and this person might be a little wrong, but, at the end of the day, it's your opinion too, I think. So,
yeah, for me, like later on in life, I've learned from his mom and my mother-in-law really to keep an open mind in your everyday life. Because a lot of times, my father is a big debater and my grandfather was a big debater, and they'd stay in their one little field and not expand upon that. So I learned the opposite, to try to live outside of the box, which I've had to learn how to do in my work life as well. Because, I work for Kroger. I don't want to be doing Kroger. I want to be doing this. So
shameless plug. God put their
children.
That's for sure. If you're in the paranormal, you have to be able to think outside the box, and you have to be able to think of new ways and ideas of doing the same old thing to see if you can get different results.
Yeah. So to kind of share where the name came from, growing up in church, we were taught through our religion, it was Pentecostal church, that there were no ghosts, there were no spirits, there were no nothing. Everything was a demon. That's how we grew up. And we kind of knew something was a little bit different than that. We thought that was kind of some BS. And we really wanted to understand what we were seeing, what we were feeling, what we were meditating on, stuff like that, and seeing in our spiritual sense. So Shadows Abound is basically what is all around us. We want to know what it is. And we never really got that going through church. And since we've been out of it, we've been trying to figure out what it is. So we try and gain that knowledge as much as we can. So
they jumped the gun on me. They beat me to the ground.
Felt it.
Sorry.
Oh,
they read your mind, Howie. They read your mind.
It's not hard.
I mean, for me, my parents, when I was really young, I want to say from the age from 6 to 12, my parents were Catholic. And it was like I had my 12th birthday in a very scary event as a child where, there was an entity in my room. I was being held up into the ceiling. I won't go into too much detail, but all that was going on, and they're praying, being out loud, trying to wake me up. My minor memory of that is just being woken up and looking down, and I'm in the ceiling looking down at my parents and a priest. And that very same night, my father's friend from school, I guess, came over, talked to him about Pentecostalism, brought a copy of the Bible that was printed out, I guess. And from then on, they were both Pentecostal. And then we moved from Syracuse, New York to Virginia when I was 14. I met him, and boom, now here we are.
Yeah,
I'm
38 years later.
I'm 38 now.
So let me ask y'all. One of the things I did notice is y'all really like to do holy grounds, if you wish to call it that. There's a definite difference between graveyard and cemeteries. And I kind of understand why y'all do the cemeteries, because I've never been a cemetery person. I'm like, I don't see the meaning. I mean, I have a religious thought about this, but cemeteries are not based on holiness. The graveyard is. A graveyard's connected to a church, cemetery separate away. But I think, and this is one of the things I wanted to talk to y'all about that night when we were walking around the cemetery. You like that?
Yeah. The cemetery.
Right. The
in all caps.
Yeah. How do y'all feel with the since it is not graveyard, some of the things that we even encountered that night, and I think I kind of alluded to this while we were out there, is do you feel that there may be energies or entities or spirits out there that actually kind of roam to protect that property, if you will, kind of like a cemetery centurion?
I feel like there is. I mean, I want to answer for him, but I do feel like some areas that we have investigated, that there has been a protective, positive spirit. And there was a place I was telling you about when we were there. That's in Midlothian. I saw shamanistic spirits walking around when I meditated. You can ask him. It's very weird. Twice I got caught ghost scribing. The other time the spirit actually got into me, and I walked around, and I don't remember like 2 hours of what I was doing. But I literally meditated, saw him, and then don't remember the next 2 hours. So, but anytime that I did see him, or in the future we've gone back, I believe he was protecting, because different spots you got into, it was like a door, like a portal. You just walk through there, and temperature changed, the feelings changed, eyeballs were on you. You just heard murmuring, you heard animalistic sounds. It was very weird. And then you go, like 100 yards down, and then it's another portal, and then it's all demonic pressure.
Yep.
Oh,
and that's where he's at. That's where that shamanistic spirit is at. Is where all that demonic presence is,
and keeping it back at bay. Yeah.
So, in that, I don't know if that's cemetery area, but as far as cemeteries go, I feel like those kind of spirits are there too, because I feel like sometimes they try and hold those spirits inside the grounds. If you know what I mean, like they're spirits that are going to roam around, but they're not going to roam around too much out of the cemetery, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get that.
And I was going to say that too. It's kind of like, so like the spot that we're all in together, let's say I'm going off of that. Some of the energy and things that we were catching and experiencing ourselves was happening from what's called like the chaos theory, where there's two or more things against each other working side by side. And out of that chaos causes something more negative. And because that negative thing is showing up, something else places that centurion or guard, if you will, to protect it so that it stays in that spot and not goes any further.
Right.
On that spot, yes. But I've seen the latter. I've seen more negative stuff out of chaos at other locations, more so than that spot we were all in.
Yeah.
I don't know. The only way I can describe it without describing it too much is I'm the kid from Sixth Sense. I see a lot. So, and as of like the last 5-6 years, I've been used to things being on mute up until just now. Now all of a sudden they turn the volume up to 11 and I'm at the center of the concert where the speaker is at an Iron Maiden concert. You know what I mean?
So your clear audience is coming out now.
To watch it without audio.
So that's probably because we're jumping into stuff now.
Yeah.
The fact that we're doing this finally, I think that's why.
That's a good point, because you guys were talking to me about how you felt about your perception as being perceived, and how kind of affected y'all in the past. Rhonda is a certified medium. So I've known her since we were 14. How ironic. So it is interesting, the changes that we have gone through and how society has changed even when we were teenagers, even prior to us. But at that point, we were still in the 80s. And it was still kind of you're right. It was a kind of a don't talk about it.
Yeah.
You may be crazy, or you're a demon, or you're possessed,
Yeah.
Or you're going to get possessed because you're even talking about it.
Yep.
Well, we get that a lot. So, my parents, like I said, my dad, he's actually an ordained minister now. So he went through that, got a certificate, did the time, and he still believes everything's a demon. So they'll tell me, you're going where the demons are at, right? And I had that conversation with him and how I feel about it. I do believe that a good portion of it is demonic, because that's what I've seen. For me, or I don't know for you, but I feel like most children's spirits, they are demonic presence. I think that they show themselves as that to kind of open up and to get into families. But that's just my belief. I know everybody believes in it different. I also believe that some spirits that, passed away might kind of go back to their child form. And then that's why we see child spirits. It's them as a child instead of them as a grown-up. And that's why when you go on investigations, you don't know who the hell the child is.
Yeah.
That happens. You're like, I thought a grown man died here, but I'm seeing a little boy, because maybe that was his happiest time. That's where he reverts back to. I mean, I believe in different things on that format.
Well, that's one thing. Most of my mentors have agreed on is they've said that when spirit comes back, and even if you're doing it mediumistically, they will display themselves to you at the age that they felt most confident or that they want to be at. So, they might have died at 75, but 25 they felt was their prime, and they're going to come to you as a 25-year-old or what they look like at that. So I kind of agree where that could be. Children could be just somebody displaying themselves. That's how they prefer to be displayed.
Which I'll be honest, I've never met a nice child spirit. I think the last one, which I don't know if I told you that story, we were at the spot in Midlothian. I was meditating on the trail, and this little girl comes out looking like the girl from The Shining, and tells me to come play with her. And I have my eyes. I have to close my eyes when I meditate, and I shake my head no, and she does like this, and I said no, I'm not going with you. And I said that telepathically, and everybody's kind of looking at me like, why is he shaking his head? Like, what's going on? I did it a third time, and when I did it a third time, the gate that kind of contains the building that got taken down, the gate started shaking profusely, hard as could be, and scared everybody that was with us. And everybody kind of turned around like, what the hell's going on? And his wife, who sees things and knows things, she was with us that night. She just randomly said, well, Greg pissed her off. And everybody's kind of like, what is he, what is she talking about? And it was the little girl. But I knew it was a demonic presence. That's why when it was doing this number to me. And by the way, she came out of a bush.
Yeah.
She literally walked out of a bush, walked on the path, saw me, went like this. Oh, hell no. Nope, I'm good.
And, I mean, so what happened there at this location he's talking about, there was no children there. Right. Other than the people that were killed in this horrible event. They had children at home, and that's who was missing them when this event happened to them.
Yeah.
But it's like, there was no children there.
There was there was a few. So we looked into it, part of researching. There's 3 explosions. One of them was 8 people. We actually got that out of the spirit box, that there were 8 people. We got a name. We found that name on the research log of who died, and it was the exact name of the person. There was 2 kids that died, but both of them were male. So that female, we don't know where she came from, but I knew it was a demonic presence.
There you go.
So I don't ever meet nice child spirits. They're usually demonic for me.
For me, it's worse than that. For me, it's kind of like you're seeing an all black or gray figure, kind of the same makeup as Slenderman, but without the tuxedo. Okay. He's got his fingers inside the back of a 7-year-old girl or boy, and the fingers are moving the boy or girl, like straight marionette.
Right.
Well, I'm glad I haven't seen that. So
yeah, me too, man. I'm like,
that's why I don't.
I want to see that.
I have the things I see are vivid, so I try to stay silent as much as possible because I'm a goofy guy, so I could tend to be loud and stuff. So I take the opposite when we're on an event. Which is why I get along great with Howie. So
I agree.
I'm more of a chill guy usually all the way around. I mean, I like to be funny and stuff, but yeah,
it's a good balance. It is a good balance.
Yeah, that's why Ryan and I get along so well.
I'm going to ask a quick question because I've asked this already, so hopefully you guys are ready for this. At a cemetery, why do you do a cemetery when it is, in theory, in belief that when the body departs from its spirit from body, that it is usually at the place of rest? Why would a cemetery be haunted? Why would it have activity?
I mean, again, I'll answer for me. I feel like a lot of times with traumatic experiences, I mean, a graveyard is just a body in the ground, right? So sometimes if something happens forever away, that person got a horrible experience, horrible whatever, or a piece of that spirit is left there and then it gets dropped into the ground. Maybe that experiences it and stays there. I feel like we always leave our energy everywhere we go. So even upon death, I feel like that's going to be a big imprint. Like you said, if it's not on holy ground, I feel like there's stuff that's going to be running around. But also believe that just as much as there's a guardian there's demonic presences, knowing that it's trauma. For example, when we went and investigated, I meditated and I said, I saw what? I saw imps climbing around the structure we were looking at.
Right.
You pulled out the flare. You saw solar flares coming out, and then you saw a head peeping around the corner.
Okay, you're getting ahead of us.
I'm just saying. I feel like a graveyard, you're gonna get everything. I mean, we honestly don't like doing graveyards.
No,
most of them, except that one. That one we like.
But I like them.
We rather go to places like the Cabin or the Hanover Tavern, stuff like that. It's just graveyards are free, Yeah.
Economically speaking.
I've only done one graveyard and we got literally nothing. But it was at a church. But then something you just said just sparked something in my head is, we always look at like, well, church graveyards are, sacred ground. However, it wasn't always. That church wasn't there forever. There was things there before that church ever got there.
No,
so who's to say?
There can be things that met. So I talked with a gentleman, which I was supposed to go to his house and help him out because he was seeing a child spirit. And he was kind of like a dean at his church. Okay. And apparently they have a graveyard at that church. And randomly, every other Saturday, when he would go to the church to check on it, he would be seeing chicken bones at the feet of the church.
Interesting.
And so I said, well, that's not a good sign. I said, did it show up once, twice? Was it a cat bringing a present? And he said, no, they were in a weird symbol. He didn't tell me what the symbol was, but he told me that he saw it every other Saturday. So I told him, I said, Chris and I can go out there and investigate, because he also found people walking around in the graveyard, mumbling to themselves, a whole bunch of other stuff. And I said, did you kick him out? And he said, no, I was afraid. So I feel like if people go on there and kind of poison the land a little bit, that can bring stuff up and kind of mess with, like he said, positive, negative, kind of doing this.
Right.
You're going to get little solar flares coming off. You might have God's presence kind of helping out. You might have demonic presences coming out. So you're going to have that kind of battle going on. So sometimes you will get stuff.
And it kind of the two bring attention to each other. And, you know, like the saying goes, you can't have light without dark. You can't have darkness without light. So.
That's correct.
Yeah. So some places you might, but most graveyards, I think we've gone, haven't had a church.
No, yeah.
So
trying to think. No, none of them.
I think the only cemetery we went to that didn't have a lot, that wasn't the Woodlake one. Which one was it?
The one at Midlothian?
Yeah, it's the one near Midlothian Coal Mines. It was the family cemetery.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing we got out of that was they were angry about how people were treating it. They were upset that they died. They wanted to still be alive. We got some of those voices coming out because people obliterated that graveyard. They kicked the stones down. The grass was growing all over it. I mean, there was a couple times I didn't notice that my foot was almost on a tombstone because I couldn't see it.
Right.
Yeah.
You're there at night, but at the same time, it was covered in leaves and dirt. And I mean, these tombstones were old too. So I mean, from what we read, the brothers of Midlothian in Scotland, when they moved over, that's why it's named Midlothian, because that was their last name. So
right.
Yeah, it's definitely 17 1800s. So pretty late stuff.
And on that previous note, I mean, so you have the ceremony as they're putting the casket in the ground at the cemetery, and you have family members and friends. They're putting impressions in the coffin and at the headstone, their thoughts and feelings and emotions. So that brings attention.
Right.
And you have their baggage, and then you have the person that's dead still has the baggage. They still carry that baggage as they're dying, going on the ground. It's still with them on their body. So I don't mean physical baggage. I meant emotional baggage.
Well, the Vikings, I mean, you know, they did bury the Vikings with gold and all their treasure. Sometimes, you know, they're slaves or whatever else, which is a weird story. But yeah.
And then you set them on fire with an arrow.
That too. Yeah. I believe it was a king in the Vikings that got buried with all his stuff.
Oh,
which is weird.
Lothbrok. Ragnar Lothbrok.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. So let's jump into that a little bit. A couple weeks ago, and we could talk a little bit that. So we met up at 12 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
It was a cold night.
It was a cold night.
It was a cold night.
He was not prepared.
No.
We warned them. We said, dress warm.
Yeah, we warned them.
It's going to get cold.
Yeah. I didn't heed the warning properly. I did better than Ryan, poor soul.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
His poor feet and hands were almost ice when we got to the car. He's like, I can't feel my feet. And I'm like, I get you.
We didn't even get to the river.
Right. Well, where we were, it had so much out there. And Ryan's hitting that up there right now. I saw us kind of yes, it was a bit chilly.
Sorry, Ryan.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ryan.
Hand warmers in the boots and in the hand gloves next time.
Yeah.
We walked in with you guys and met the amazing staff there. And right off, there was something that we noticed on the return back that we did not see as we entered. And I think you guys know what I'm referring to, and I'll bring that up in a minute. But then you guys asked, where did we want to start? Now, where did we want to start on a 7? Was it 67? How big is the location?
136 acres, I believe.
Okay, 136 acres.
Don't quote me on that. I think it's right.
But it's big. It's big. And we only did not even a quarter of this cemetery.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good. that it was so massive. But y'all asked, where did we want to go first? And I just brought simple stuff. I'm like, there's a couple of things that I've been wanting to try. I did bring the modified parabolic dish, and I brought a fluorocam. It was just
two pieces I want so bad.
Yeah, we set it up, and you guys got to experience what that flare can do, and that's just on the low end flare.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're talking at this specific location or structure. And if anybody, I'm going to do it. I could do it like this. We're doing it in code. If you look behind Rhonda's head, you'll see a specific shape.
Right there.
Right there.
I'm like, right there.
There we go.
That's the only clue you're given. So we're at that particular location, and we were catching images that were around this location, as you said, and you guys were picking up on an energy base. I confirmed it with the flare. I too was picking it up. Ryan was really observing it. I'm doing his thing, and we could just get all feel it.
Yeah,
at one location.
Yeah, I mean, what was freaking me out was seeing it visually, like I do my things, and I'm looking at your flare screen, and that's why you heard me spazzing out. I was like, "Oh my god, it's on the flare screen right there! Look!" And I'm like, "Oh man, I have to say I'm psycho to myself anymore."
Which I gotta say, I was not annoyed, but you caught me off guard because I asked if you were sensitive. I asked if you saw anything or picked up on anything, and you said no.
Right.
And so I believed you. And like 2 hours later,
yeah,
he's like, by the way, I'm a sensitive as well. And I'm like, son of a bitch.
He was just testing us.
There's a reason I do that. And anybody can tell you. I always say this, and Rana can say, you're full of shit. I don't believe that I have abilities such as certain things. When I say sensitive, I'm ambient sensitive to energy, etc. But I also have to do certain things so people don't try to utilize or try to manipulate me. I've seen it over and over and over again in this field of manipulation and deceitfulness.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going to let that happen. I'm just a regular on the field thing. But I had to hear you guys to get confirmation. I'm like, okay, yep, right there. Okay, yep, right there. Okay, yep, right there. To where I was feeling safe enough to go, let's talk.
Yeah, which I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
So. Because it was no disrespect. It was just getting confirmation. Yeah. And you guys were hitting it in the flare with you guys. That for me, for you guys was enough, because to see the look on your faces and your energy to go, that's it. And you would tell me where to point the camera. Now, Rhonda, they told me where to point the flare, and I moved it. Bam. You could see image. And I got the images on SD, which I will release soon, to them first, and then to whoever. And then the parabolic dish was picking up some really interesting things. That was really cool. I feel the really interesting part was when we were not using equipment at all. And again, I didn't mean to annoy you. I apologize again.
No, you didn't annoy me. I'm just joking about it. Yeah.
That was the clown in me. We went to locations, and we clearly heard something that was still in this cemetery. It was not a part of Richmond. And it was clear as day. I would say we went to a location where a very popular Confederate general is buried, laid to rest. And I had the most amazing conversation with Ryan beside me while you guys were heading over to the unknown. And I was floored. I was absolutely floored of the responses that I was getting, Rhonda. Absolutely floored. And they would come back. They're giving me confirmation. So we were bouncing off each other and off whatever, with saying this. And this is the reason I'm bringing this up, guys, is do you feel that there's a possibility that due to the structures themselves, are they giving off like beacons? Are they the whoa?
That was interesting. I saw that.
I got company. That
Hello there.
how you doing? Hi. That even like the mausoleums for the Masons, or a structure for a Confederate or federal soldier or officer, do these things amplify the situations in that location? Woo.
I think so.
Yeah.
So we had to quit early that night, but we wanted to take you to where the obelisks were. The reason being is because as soon as you get anywhere near that or on the path to get there, it's like you go through multiple portals. And I mean, it's like boom, 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 boom. And you feel it. It's like one after another, just hit you. As soon as you start going into the separate plots, as soon as you start going to the bigger obelisk, I mean, you'll start seeing the small ones. Stuff will start ramping up. But when you get near the really big ones, I mean, it just really ramps up. You'll see things dancing around. You'll see things kind of watching you, staring at you. You'll hear voices. And there's, like I told you, there was a bench with 5 crosswalks. And when you get to that point, it's like, boom.
Like the center of all of it, kind of.
Everything just hits right there. And that's where I've had one of my very most positive experiences with a spirit, is on that bench. And that, to me, I thought was weird because there's nothing but negative demonic presences around that area. And for an actual gentle spirit to come through that shows how, I don't know what the word.
How odd
you just said it. I mean, it's odd, but just how big the energy is there.
Yeah.
Amplified. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. Amplify the energy.
And I mean, I was going to say each structure, I guess, does an absorption and a repelling and an attractant all at once almost. So like that part where you were talking about with the obelisks, which would be like the section meant for the Masons. Each one has its own, like almost like an auditory thing where you're listening to a tuning tool for a piano, but there's one here and one here and one here, and they're all pinging all at once. So it's crazy.
It's almost like like magnets when you hold negative and negative together, and it kind of just does like this and reverberates. It's kind of like that too. It almost feels like.
Very cool. Very cool. Rhonda. She's like, yes. Let me ask you that. Why would there be more energy at a structure comparatively to the location?
Well, I mean, it kind of goes with what they said earlier. I would imagine because the structure would have any energies associated with where the materials came from, who created the materials, who built the structure. So it's like multiple layers of energy that have touched it.
Okay.
That would be my guess.
Okay. Well, that sounds amazing. I mean, y'all are just hitting this up because I'm like, well, I'll get your point. I see where you're coming from. I'll get your point. I mean, it's true, and I sit there and I'm going, all right, I got to be open-minded because I don't do cemeteries. All right. This was the first time that I actually did a cemetery or any type. I just, that is not my thing. It's a no-go. It's like it's a no-fly zone for me. Don't fly there. It's almost like Spirit said no. However, that night, Spirit was like, get your ass moving. Go. Get out of here. Okay. Gotcha. Of course, Ryan didn't hurt with him going, want to go investigating late at night?
That's him for me, literally. Because I'll shut down right after work. So
right.
He's most of the time the motivation for, hey, we got this thing for Shadows Abound. Want to come? Right now.
Which so we want to generate more into being at historic places. So we want to go back to Hanover Tavern, just us if we can. As far as like a small group, not 60 people. Because energy was all over the place that night. So we didn't get some of our best stuff, but we did get a lot of good stuff. That's another reason why we go to cemeteries, because I know it's just going to be us there, supposedly,
I like that.
Somebody.
Yeah, they did tell me about some spooky crap that was physically human. That happened, and I was like, oh boy. Do I need to carry a weapon? You know,
no, we rather go to historic buildings, like for example the cabin. You know, just because of the history that you know, and you go in there and you see what you get. Yeah. So you know, for example, Rhonda could get something different than me. You could get something different than me. Chris could, you know.
Yep.
So you get different things when you go into a building like that, and it's just you. So you're walking into their domain, and it's like, let's see what we get. You know, and that's why we want to go to more places like that. But cemeteries, it's just there's so many of them in Virginia, and especially ones that nobody knows about. Right. So we try to bring some out that we know of. We like historic places. We like the history. We want to teach people about it. You know, that's just kind of where we're at. So cemetery is not our number one place to go to. We got, I think, a house call coming up, which I won't go in much detail, but we went there before, and it jacked up my camera the entire time we were there. It was infrared torches. My camera had no audio.
Yeah,
so
it like put it on mute or something.
It put it on mute. So for 3 hours, I got 20 minutes of footage, which pissed me off. And also, that was the only place or time that I've had a very demonic growl, like about as close as he is to me, just right in my face, as if the thing was standing right there. Right. And when it growled out at me, I knew it was there, and I looked at it in its face. I showed no fear, but that was the first time I've had that much of a presence just hit me right then and there. So we might supposedly go back out there. It's a personal call, but we're starting to do stuff like that too. So house calls, trying to help people if we can too. So.
It's about helping people. I mean, in the long run, we talked about this last night on Paranormal Outlaws. Is one of the things is people got to remember. We're not always there to help the client. Sometimes we help the spirit because the client's agitated the spirit. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah. I mean, this is more helping the client out because I think it's a demonic attachment.
Okay.
So since we were there last, apparently it's gotten worse. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. We gave advice. I don't think the advice was followed. So we might go back out there and see what we can do. And I'm bringing extra equipment if we go back out there. There you go. So that way my camera doesn't get jacked up again because that pissed me off.
Well, guy at this last time, the first time we went out, it's basically someone's townhouse. I was the guy doing the anointing the doorways and did some call outs. And, you know, now that I'm hearing it doesn't seem like it worked, but on the person's end, right, I have to do some extra equipment spiritually then when we go out again. So, but I'm the same way you are, Howie, for cemeteries. I'm that way with people's houses only because I have to do certain things based on the person, turn things off, turn it down, tone me down, tone my gift down or whatever it is, you know, be very reserved. So
that's the other thing I wanted to bring up real quick. I know we're going over a little bit, but that's okay. Yeah. I own this place. But the thing is that I did notice, all right, we'll go back to the cemetery in question. When we came back, all four of us noticed something that was peculiar to our left side down into the woods. And for those who are going, well, what? We noticed a lantern had been lit while we were in this cemetery that was not lit when we walked in. And that was very interesting. And we actually talked to the, how do I want to use it? We'll just say security guard. We'll go with that, about that. And he, right. So now it's interesting to me how these things take place, but to know that you guys do the exact same ritual as my team does, that gained a lot more respect. At the beginning and end, and that was mad props. Another time, if there was a team, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to say it right now. Are y'all going back? Well, I'll be strapped on like Darby on the back of one of their backs. We're going back.
So
can I get an invite this time?
So what I wanted to bring up about that. So he messaged me after we left.
Okay.
And he said that I told him about the lantern. He went out there to go check on it. He actually went to go put it out. And when he did, his flashlight died. He started hearing sounds. started getting really rattled and unnerving. And so I told him, leave it alone. Don't mess with it. And so he just left it by itself. And he was like, I'm getting out of this area. And he said, as soon as he got out of the area, went down a couple different ways, flashlight cut back on. So whatever he was doing, messing with it, did not like it. And I feel like it started heating up because flashlight went out. He started feeling unnerved. And he just was like, I got to get out of here. I can't deal with it. And usually he wouldn't message me about something, but you could tell he was disturbed by whatever was happening because he doesn't ever message me about anything like that until that night.
So by lantern, was it like I'm curious about this now. Was it like a solar powered lantern or is it like one of the street light lanterns?
What it was so it's a lot like one of the collectible metal old timey lanterns that you can find in like Home Goods or TJ Maxx.
Okay.
It was very rough around the edges. Paint was scraped off. And then it had the really old wax white candle lit old timey style inside. But it looked like there was twine around the outside handle so you couldn't open up the door to blow the candle out.
Right.
So, because I was the one actually, when I was feeling that it was there, I was the first one to see it a good 5 miles away down into the woods. I thought it was like a spirit orb or something.
I was oblivious to it.
And I ran down to it. I ran down to it and like had to be face on it. And I was like, oh, that's an old timey, almost like a Civil War lantern, really.
Yeah.
Got the oil.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I was definitely oblivious to it because we were worried about other stuff at the time. And, the guy that we had with us that night.
Oh, yeah, the new guy.
We were testing on a new camera guy. So he went with us, very first investigation ever. He experienced a lot, so that was cool for him. But Chris and him saw the candle, and Howie, I don't remember if you saw it as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I remember I was one of the very few people oblivious to it until at the end. I was worried about other stuff at the time. So for me, it's not that I can shut off the spirit stuff. It's I have ADHD. So yes, sometimes I'll see the spirits, and then other times I'll see a squirrel or a tree or just anything that goes.
No, he's not lying.
No, I can believe that.
He found stuff in a tree that we would have never seen.
Yeah,
I was like, how the hell did you see that? I mean, we're talking about steel cable that was embedded in the tree going up, and he's like, wonder how that happened. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, holy shit.
He could tell you, him and I were talking, and I would just literally eye contact, and then I would just see something walking around in the background. I guess he could get it off me. He was like, he's seeing something, and then I go right back to having eye contact and do that number.
So Rhonda, the tree they're talking about, this tree is like in the middle, right in front of the structure we were talking about with Howie's Fleur.
Okay.
The tree would remind you the tree from Salem's Lot.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's got like this really thick, like
a
this
grounding
thick
wire.
ground wire coming up the back of it all the way to the top of it. So we figured because it's so old, lightning would strike it. This keeps the lightning from hitting it, I guess.
Like it was like a lightning rod. Okay.
I mean, I'm very fascinated in how things work, as well. So I want to know how things are put together or people's mindset behind it, stuff like that. So that's another reason why I was kind of like squirrel,
Yeah, that would make sense though too, being that close to the river because storms follow the river, so it would make sense that they would set up something like that there. That's cool.
This was across the path from.
Wouldn't it risk taking that tree down on some? I don't know. That's bizarre.
No, it would take a lot to get the tree down though too. How thick and
that big.
Well, I think the reason they did it was because it's across the path from the symbol behind your head.
So
if they didn't have that there, then that would
pick it up. Yeah,
it would knock it out. Yeah.
So I think that's why they did it. But
absolutely, that makes sense.
That makes you wonder: did they have an issue? Like, did something happen that said, "Oh, we need to put something up there"?
It could have got. I mean, that tree has been hit by lightning because there's been burn marks on it.
Yeah.
So.
And there's no life on it. Matter of fact, it does not have any leaves. Doesn't have it during the fall or spring. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's dying either. So.
If anybody is in there, you know where we're talking now.
Howie will tell you his experience with me out there last was, I had to say right away, I used to work at Blockbuster. So a lot of my relating to my experiences is I'll bring up a movie right away, which annoys the hell out of him, but it's the only way I can express it, I guess. It's just too hard to put into words, I guess.
It's just the running joke of I've never seen that. So like Sam Block, I've never seen it.
You haven't seen a lot. Like, if you were to stand in the middle of a Blockbuster store, there's a whole half of the store you haven't even seen.
Oh, all comedies, action movies, yep, seen it. Things you never heard of comedy-wise, seen it. Horror movies, no.
No.
I don't know why. I don't know.
So we're on the way out. Y'all were talking about the lantern. I heard what y'all just said about what the gentleman said. Is there a possibility that that lantern was meant for us to help us out?
Supposedly, his boss told him that candle gets lit around the holidays, and also around the weekends. So I don't know if it's somebody jumping the fence, and I kind of told you while we were there, I was picking up on like fairy spirits or something kind of wood folk around it.
Right.
That I was happy that it was lit, and I think that when he disturbed it, it did not like it.
Right.
It's kind of like dancing around the fire, if you will. And I think that it might be a human presence lighting it, but there's spirits protecting it in a way.
I like that.
Yeah. And I was going to go further with that. I was like, it was supposed to be a ceremonial intent behind it. Someone physically lit it, but there was a strong intent behind why they lit it. So
yeah, but that person has never been caught
positively too.
And they don't know when it gets lit. So, but it is a very normal thing. So,
and it's rare for that area and rare for that side of the gate too, because some of the real-time stuff that goes on that's related to Richmond, that's negative, usually happens right there.
Okay. There you go. And see, that's the interesting part. So maybe there's a positive to the factor of why it is lit. Maybe it's to help the cemetery. That's a good point. These are valid points, and I love this fact. Guys, I cannot wait. Hopefully you will accept our invitation to return. More footage and more things you get. Let's hear your adventures, because there's a lot more we can get into. It's just we don't have that time, but we will make that time. This is kind of that virgin show. How can we get this going? But let us know before we get out of here what your bucket list is for 2024.
Oh,
and where can people find you in your YouTube?
Yeah.
So of course YouTube, Shadows Abound, just like it's spelled up at the top, and also Facebook. We're trying to work on getting a website and some other things. We just started out, so we're trying to learn how to grow everything, and we're teaching ourselves how to do it. So bear with us.
So on Facebook, our Facebook group is Shadows Abound.
Yeah, same thing.
And then you'll see our profiles related to the group in there if anyone wants to do messaging, that kind of thing.
Yep. I guess what we have again is Fort Maddox coming up. We're going to be going back to said place to do our part 2. And we're trying to get a couple people to go back with us for a different version as well, and you as well. We want to do the cabin. That is one of our bucket lists. You know, we've been waiting forever to do that, so we're excited.
Oh, we're ready for you, by the way.
Oh yeah. I can't wait. I guess, what is that place we were talking about up north?
In Staunton.
I think it was Staunton.
Well, the Augusta Military Academy. That's
Augusta.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, so that's actually owned by the church we used to go to. So
yeah, we definitely. It sounds corny, but not to me. I want to do the Mothman adventure.
Yes, I do too.
Out there, and I want to try and find him or her, and see what that's all about. I think that'd be a cool little adventure. I want to go see the town, celebrate, around that area, and go after that cryptid. So that's something I would like to do in 2024.
Well, I'm going to add to your list next year. So welcome aboard, boys.
Yeah. And we want to take y'all to a couple of places too. Like I said, the spot in Midlothian we've been talking about. That's something we want to take you out to, see what you get. Yeah. It is one of our very first videos on our YouTube channel. If you guys want to check it out, that was when we very first started. So we didn't have the greatest equipment. Our camera was crappy beyond all belief.
I was aiming the
audio
camera
was
in the wrong
crappy.
direction.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of staring at the rocks, but no, there's a lot of cool places we want to get into. We've been so pressed for time trying to get things out. I've been working on a house in the Clinton
house.
Yeah, we've been working on a Clinton house. I just said screw it, I'm gonna do a part 1, so I'll be putting that out here pretty soon. So I'll send that to you guys.
Excellent.
A house from the 1840s out near Buckingham. There's also a murder cabin out there we want to go do.
Yes.
So Fitzpatrick Murder House. Trying to get in contact with the owner. So there's a couple things we want to do.
I'm going to end this with this. If there was a group that I would want to roll with, it would be these two guys. I have that much admiration and respect for these guys. I respect the energy, their knowledge, and I'm going to say this too. I don't. When you get in, if you meet these guys, it doesn't seem like they've been a short period of time in the paranormal. It seems like it's been a long time. I think that goes to their character and their integrity. Bar none, I would roll with these guys in a heartbeat. So I'm just putting that out there.
Appreciate you, Howie. Appreciate you saying that.
We can't wait for you to come back out with us. So,
and we'll get you to the cabin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, we can't wait. We keep seeing all the videos on it, and I go through YouTube and I'm like, all right, what did this group do when they were there? What kind of shots did they? I look at it from an editorial thing, but also I'm like, what kind of demons are there?
Hey, shh.
Yeah.
Don't get him started.
No.
Mr. Curry will not be happy.
No, we're
good.
We see Ryan stuff all the time. So
that little asshole over there. Very cool. Very cool. So we are going to touch base back very soon, and we're going to check your adventures out, see where you've been, and see the growth. I love to speak with people over periods of time because I love to see their growth. Did their personality change? Did their experiences change them and their thoughts or processes? So, having you guys back, running with you guys, I look forward to it. I can't wait for you to meet Rhonda face to face and we're all together and be able to pull something off, which I know will happen in 2024. So travelers and those alike, please check them out. Go check out YouTube, check them on Facebook. You will not be disappointed.
We appreciate that.
We appreciate you guys.
We definitely appreciate the support. We're excited for 2024. We definitely want to go to some awesome places. We want to hang out with awesome like-minded people as well. So we're just excited, and I think some big things are coming.
I agree. Rhonda, any last words of wisdom?
I have no wisdom left for the day.
Travelers and those alike, thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this unique show as well. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you again, Ryan. Props to Ryan C. Jones at the Vibe and Freaking Awesome Show and the Cabin of 360.
Yeah, and if you want to come hang out with Ryan and I, we're going to be listening to our favorite Christmas music on YouTube here in about an hour, 45 minutes.
45 minutes. T-minus 45 minutes and oh no. Travelers, if you get down, if you need someone to talk to, don't be scared. We all fall. We're here to help you. All the travelers are as a family. We will put our hands out. We will get you back on your feet, especially this season. Yeah. Holiday seasons are the worst, and that's what makes us the best. We're here for each other.
Yeah, I think my little nugget is I usually say just be good humans this week, but I feel like it's extra needed this time of year because you really don't know what someone else is going through. So even if they bite your head off, just smile and try to say something nice, maybe make them switch that frown upside down.
Yeah.
And I will open up an invitation if anybody does want to reach out to us, have questions. We do have a group chat on our Facebook. You can reach out to us separately as well. We have people that will ask us questions about what we feel about certain things or just information they're asking for. So we open that up if anybody needs any help.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, and to go with Rhonda, keep an open heart and an open mind, especially this season and past.
And on that, may virtue be yours. Good night, folks.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.